Okay, so welcome to Executive Execution. This is the introduction and overview, and I'm sharing my screen, and this is our slide deck for today. The agenda is course schedule, the overview of our competency model. We'll do introductions for those on the call. We're going to do definitions of what it means. What does executive execution mean? And then we'll go over homework. So let's look at the schedule. So here's the 11 more weeks. And today we will just have an overview. Then on the 26th, we'll actually get into creating innovation. And then we'll talk about driving action the next week, etc. You can read this. I'm not going to read the schedule to you, but there it is. And I really would like you to attend all sessions. You're only being charged for one, so you might as well take advantage of this and come to all our sessions. So here's our competency model. And I'll tell you the story of how this evolved. So back 20 years ago or so, I was working with the Lominger competencies, and Lominger was bought by Korn Ferry, and now it's the Korn Ferry competency model. Korn Ferry is the largest executive retained search firm in the world. And they're well known for their consulting as well as their executive search, their recruitment. But they have a competency model that was initially formed by Lominger, and it was very well respected. It is very well respected to this day. However, it's got 120 competencies. So what I did is I narrowed that down. I studied other competency models that were equally respected, and I narrowed it down to 50. I came up with 10 in each of 5 categories. So the contribution that I've made to this whole body of executive competency thinking is around the fact that there is 5 distinct categories. And it really gives you an ability to get your handle on competencies, because when you read a list of 100 competencies, it's just overwhelming, and it's really hard to figure out, well, how does this all fit together? So let me tell you how I think it fits together. Number one, core character is the number one most important category of competency. It is the least often measured, and it's the most important. But for our purposes, we're going to assume you have great core character. And that may be dangerous, but we're assuming it. But the number 2, second most important competency for executive functionality is execution. Why do you think I say that? Why do you think I say that after core character, after having a strong core character, the number 2 most important competency would be execution? Why do you think I'm saying that?
Well, if you don't do something with it, what good is it?
Okay, good. If you don't do something with it, what good is it? Give me another reason. I agree with that.
That's how we get measured, is can we execute?
Yeah, that's a very basic, can this guy execute or can this gal execute? Good. Another reason.
Drive other people to execute.
You have to be able to drive other people to execute, and if you can't execute yourself, you're probably not going to be able to drive others. Although I would assume that some of you have had bosses that were not good at execution, but you were responsible for execution underneath them, and you saw the huge disconnect between what they were doing and what you were doing, and you wondered why they were an executive and you wondered why they weren't replaced, right?
That one hits close.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Seen it so many times in small companies.
Right. So people get to be executives for different reasons, but I would say this, the number one reason why people get to be executives is because of their ability to execute. That's the number one reason people are promoted. However, once you get to a place of being an executive, then these other things kick in. Relationships. It's really important to be able to get along with others, right? And management, being able to manage people and their performance, and then manage projects and their performance. It's also really important to be able to lead. But again, the very basic, the very fundamentals of being an executive is execution, getting stuff done. And I could use other colorful words that begin with the letter S, but getting stuff done, that's really the hallmark of a top executive. Fair? So that's where we're going to focus our time. So let's start with some introductions. What I'd like is your name, your company, title, role, total years as an executive, and your goals for executive development. Where do you want to be in 5 to 10 years? Okay. So we'll, would you rather me call on you or would you like to volunteer? Roger, you just joined. You want to kick us off? Let me allow you to talk. There you go. You're now permitted to talk, but you're muted.
Very good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. Well, Daniel, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roger Graham. I work for Abbott or Abbott Labs. My title is Area Vice President of Sales. That basically means I lead a sales team of about 40 folks, managers, territory managers, and other support staff in 8 states. We're in the medical device business. I've been in this role about 2.5 years. I've been a sales leader for about, I'd say about 10 years now, and with this company, almost 15 years. My goals for executive development, or where do I want to be in 5 to 10 years? I see myself hopefully in a national role. As an area vice president, I'm one of 5 that report to a division vice president. So I see myself in the near future as either a division vice president here at Abbott or possibly in a global vice president role. Ideally as a general manager, but having come up really in the sales and marketing side of things, I may still be in sales or marketing in the next few years.
All right, great. Thanks, Roger. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Okay, someone else. Oren, you want to take the next shot?
Yeah, sorry. I had somebody at the door there and had to deal with it. My name is Oren Elias. I am currently with Laylaps, which is a small Austin-based startup that we're actually winding down, and I'm starting a new role search. I've been president of the company for about 2 years. Prior to that, I was the COO of another startup that was based in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and did a lot of telecommuting. Total years as an executive, I think we're at 6 right now. Yeah. So I'd left Dell to become the COO at Rohini, and learned a lot about startups in the way. Goal for executive development. One of the things that I've seen, and I know I've told you this many times, Daniel, is in startups, I've learned that I don't have I always call it the vernacular, but There's some refinement to what I need to do in order to really be an efficient executive. Very technically competent, very empathetic with people, can manage whatever it is from the organizational development side. But there's some refinement needed there, which is why I'm here. 5 to 10 years from now, I'd like to be running, or I'd like to still have an executive position within a larger company. Probably also have a small one on the side, and definitely spend more time on boards giving back. I'm very active with the scouting program. I'm an Eagle Scout. And I've got kids that have finally hit the right age. And so I've re-engaged with that a lot, but I need to extend beyond that. So charitable boards, you know, that kind of stuff is very exciting to me.
Glad you're here. John?
Yeah,
Okay.
John Zeev. I am an executive coach, and I was an executive for about 20 of my 34 years in the corporate world, primarily in sales. And my goal is to learn Daniel's content and to grow a team of coaches. So in 5 to 10 years, I hope to have quite a large team of coaches.
Good. Excellent. Glad you're here, John.
Glad to be here.
Who else?
Okay. Hi, this is Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Yes, I'm in Kansas. I'm the president and founder of Mid-America Nursing and Allied Health Institute. July this year, it will be 4 years. I'm a practicing registered nurse also. And my goal in the next 5 years is to build the school that is regionally known in the area for the best training in healthcare.
Susan, you are on the front lines right now.
Yes.
We need you there.
Thank you.
Good.
So I have a school, I have instructors, I have enrollments going, you know, on. My programs run from 2 weeks to 10 months. And being able to teach and manage sometimes can be a challenge. You know, I used to be a project manager. I can manage multiple projects, but, you know, being on my own has been challenging.
Sure.
I want to see how I can fine tune that.
Well, as a entrepreneur, you're having to wear many different hats at the same time. There's a great
Yes.
book for
Yes.
you. I would recommend this book called let's see, The E-Myth. The E-Myth by Gerber, Gerber, and it'll help you to have an understanding of all those hats and how you do that.
Can you send that by email since I'm driving?
Yeah, Anna, would you send her that, please? The E-Myth by Gerber.
This is Lauren. I'd like to be copied on that also. It sounds interesting.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Sure, sure. One of the best books out there on the subject of being an entrepreneur. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Let's talk about definitions here. And Susan, I'm going to mute you because you've got some background noise. So let's talk about definitions. So what is executive execution? Define executive execution for me. What is it, do you think? And I'm unmuting everyone. What is executive execution? Take a shot.
Getting others to execute.
Getting others to execute. Good.
Meeting the goals of the company.
Meeting the goals of the company. Good. What else?
Developing people.
Developing people. Good. I'll drop that one in the bucket here of management.
Okay.
But yes, it's definitely an executive trait. But in the act of execution, getting stuff done. When you hear executive execution, what do you think about? What comes to
Being
mind?
held accountable to shareholders.
Accountable to shareholders, or I'd like to call it stakeholders. In other
Stakeholders, better
words,
term.
because sometimes you don't have shareholders, right?
Very true.
But you always have stakeholders. People that have a stake in you performing at your job, right?
How about setting a vision?
And setting a vision, sure. I would also come back though and throw that into the leadership category of competency. So anything to do with leading others, influencing others, and setting vision, I would drop into leadership. But on pure execution, getting stuff done, we're gonna jump to that right here. I would say, I'm sorry, right here. So I would say there's 10 key qualities. Number one, creating innovation. Oh, this is wrong. This is not the Zoom link. I just learned that today. Creating innovation. So thinking outside the box and being innovative and being creative. And then driving action. Making things happen and just moving the ball and having action, having stuff occur, right? Driving results. Different than driving action. You can drive action but not get results. And you can have great results and drive results, but if you're not also driving action, that becomes a problem. We've got some background noise here, so I don't know whose it is, but I just ask you to mute yourself for a minute, okay? There, it just went away. Focusing attention. Being able to really focus others' attention, focus your own and focus others' attention. Without an ability to focus attention, no matter how good you are in these other things, you're going to be distracted, or other people on your team are going to be distracted, and they're focused in different directions, and you're going to be herding cats, but not getting the execution results that you're paid to get. Another quality, leveraging intelligence. To really leverage the intelligence, your own intelligence and that of others. I also believe you have to be great at managing meetings. Let me tell you a little story. So I'll make up a name because I just want to protect his anonymity. So we'll call him Scott. His first initial does begin with an S. So if you ever want to talk about Scott and his experience, feel free to just bring him up. And I think in the ebook, that's what I call him also. So anyway, Scott and I worked for 6 months coaching, and we're doing really well together. I thought he was getting a lot out of the coaching, making amazing progress. But then he came to me one day and said, well, I'd like you to start being paid by my company, not me. And he's a CIO inside of a large Fortune 500 company. So he kicks me over to his human resource department, and I talk to HR, and HR says, okay, well, do you do a qualitative 360? And I said, yes, that's our best practice. Now, when I'm coaching somebody on a private out-of-pocket basis, it's a little expensive to do a 360 because I have to talk to about 15 people in someone's world. It's a half-hour phone call, and then it's another hour per person in terms of writing up the report, slicing and dicing all the notes. So, it's a 20 to 30-hour project. So I don't really suggest that for most of my private pay clients. But whenever a company is paying, that's what they always want me to do, is a qualitative 360. So anyway, I do a qualitative 360 for Stephen. Now, we were working on other things. We were working on his leadership, going back to this diagram here. We were working on his leadership skills, how he influences others, how he influences his boss. We were working on how he manages his direct reports and performance management and delegation and all kinds of stuff. We were also working on his relationships. He's very relational, but he needs to be a little bit more assertive. So we're working on assertiveness, right? He has very strong core character, but we weren't working on execution because it's pretty much a given. By the time you get to Stephen's role, you're really good at all this stuff, or at least you should be, right? Well, I do the 360, and every single person that I interview complained about his meetings. They said his meetings did not start on time. They never had an agenda. They always meandered. There was a confusion about what they were supposed to be doing inside their meeting. His executive team meetings were horrific. There was no actions driven during the meeting, no follow-up, and his staff basically saw his meetings as a waste of time, and they were. And he was sporadically having them. So how do you get to be a C-suite executive in a Fortune 500 company and have such a gaping hole that you can drive a truck through it? What do you think? How do you think he managed to do that?
He was good at executing by himself.
He was good at executing by himself. This is true. Yes. How else?
Probably had a team of managers below him that were excellent at executing.
Yes, absolutely. That's true too. Good. What else?
Well, if he'd never been given that feedback before, maybe he just didn't understand that he hadn't adapted that best practice.
Right. He never had that feedback before. Now, here's a question for you guys. Why do you think that the statement I'm going to make is absolutely true? And the statement is this, that the higher up you go in organizational hierarchy, in organizational leadership as an executive, the less feedback you get from your boss and your boss's boss and your peers. I'm positive
Absolutely.
that's true. Why? Why do you think?
People are fearful.
And all these answers, I believe, are going to be right. So let's just brainstorm a list of answers, because I've been scratching my head over this for 30 years now. I've seen the pattern, but no one can really tell me exactly why. Okay?
So one of the things, and I think there's a lot of anxiety or fear around giving that feedback. I've seen it in multiple C-suites where one person, like a COO, they'll kind of cover up and filter things, but not filter others with the CEO, because they're fearful of their own position. And maybe actually a lot of it I've seen where people are fearful of exposing deficiencies in what they have themselves. And so they're tending to just talk about the things that they know they do well, and then they just gloss over the rest of it.
I think that's absolutely true. I have a question for you. Why can I sit through an entire meal, or why can you sit through an entire meal with one of your best friends, have this big black acorn or something stuck in your teeth, and you're smiling and you're talking and they see it, but they won't tell you about it? Why does that happen?
They don't want to embarrass the person.
They don't want to embarrass the person. So I think there's a fear factor. There's a reticence just to embarrass somebody, to say, oh, you got this thing in your mouth. So we don't say anything. We let them go away. They go into the bathroom and then they say, oh, I hope that wasn't the whole meal. And then the denial kicks in and says, nah, it probably just appeared there. They didn't see it. But then no, they did see it. Why did they say something?
Well, given that, Daniel, do you have a, for the lack of a better word, a template for giving feedback? You know, I think some people, they don't want to be too blunt in giving, you know, say it's constructive criticism or, you know, in air quotes, negative feedback. What's the best way to deliver something like that?
That's an excellent question. What do you guys think?
I think it all depends on the leader. It kind of comes from the top. So if the leader is not open to his own feedback, he's going to set the culture for the team. So,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
and providing good feedback to someone depends on how well you are open and transparent yourself about giving feedback. So if you're compassionate towards yourself about how you critique yourself, you will be compassionate to others. And that's how the others will take it. So that's my 2 cents.
No, I would agree with that, John. I think that it's the culture of the company, your own behavioral style, your reticence or your openness to having some constructive conflict. So what's the template? I think you just got to do it. Like Nike says, just do it. And once you broach the subject, it gets a lot easier, right? Would you agree with that? That once you start talking about the issues, it becomes easier.
And practice on yourself. Practice giving yourself criticism or feedback, and you'll realize if it's coming from the heart, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yep. So it's interesting. I've been scratching my head for years over this, but it's just tremendously. So anyway, tremendously profound. People do not get the feedback they need. I think the technique for you is to create a safe place with your boss or your board to give you constructive feedback. So it's up to me, sitting there across from lunch, to ask, how's my teeth? And I have people that'll do that with me at lunch. They'll smile, do I have anything in my teeth? Right? So asking for that feedback is very powerful. Go ahead, Oren.
Oh, I'm good. I'm sorry. I got an extra noise there.
That's fine. Any thoughts or comments? Let me just pause there a minute. Okay, so Stephen got the feedback and he immediately fixed his meeting management issues. But just going back to this, it's one of the key, where are we? One of the key marks of a top executive is how you manage your meetings. So that's going to be a really great one to attend. Also, managing time and priorities. We could talk for hours about how executives have a gaping hole there sometimes. So, and organizing self and others. If you can't organize yourself, you can't organize others. So I think that's important. Running the business, being able to effectively run the business, run the organization, run the department, run the group, run the team. But there is a process of running something, right? And then problem solving. So these are the ones that I put into the category of executive execution, okay? Let me just pause there. Any comments? Let me ask you a question. What is the difference between executive and non-executive? In your opinion, the difference between an executive and a non-executive? What are some of the major differences that you see?
Having the big picture and communicating it.
Having big picture and communicating it. Good. What else?
The ability to, look at gaping holes in any part of your organization and address it.
Yep, I would say the ability to look at gaping holes. That one I would say is an execution competency, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Looking at gaping holes and being able to address it. Yep. And
Yep.
which one of these do you think it would be? Looking at a gaping hole and then addressing it.
Focusing attention and driving action. Right?
Yep. Yep.
Solving problems.
Yep. And solving problems. Sure. Good.
I think another big difference is inspiration, getting the organization all looking at the right goal and inspiring those people to go there.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that would be in the leadership quadrant. I would say inspiring others is leadership. However, if you look at this, it's driving action. Well, there's an element of having to inspire people to do those actions, right? So you use your leadership skills when you're executing and driving results. You're going to use your leadership skills. But whenever we talk about influencing others, we're talking about leadership. Good. So why is this important to your success? Why is execution important to your success individually right now? I mean, as you sit with what you have going on right now, like John, your ability to execute right now and drive execution through others is critical for your success because?
Well, because that's how I can achieve my goals.
Right?
It's necessary to achieve my goals.
Sure. Oren, what about you? Why is executive execution critical for your success right now?
Yeah, I think part of it is I'm gonna probably use the wrong word, but like ego. Just defining what you're bringing to the table and how you're helping that organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also right now your execution is on a job search, right?
Yes.
You're looking for a new role.
That is my primary focus.
Yes, and so what of these competencies do you need to muster?
I think leveraging intelligence for sure.
Yeah, because you need to leverage the intelligence of others to, who should I talk to in the marketplace? Good. What else?
Yeah. Organizing self and others, trying to, really know how much time you're spending going after a specific role or trying to find it.
Sure. Managing time and priorities.
Exactly.
Sure. I cannot tell you how many people have gotten severance packages from a job and take off for 3 months, then come and hire me as their career coach and say, help me find a new role. And I'm running out of money. I've got 3 months left on a 6-month severance package. So I'm really desperate. I want to find something in the next 3 months. It's like, okay, well, that takes 6 to 9 to 12 months to find an executive role, and you want to do it in 3 months, and you're just going to take the first job that comes along, which is probably going to be the wrong job for you. So, all of these skills. Go ahead.
I've definitely had fear over being offered certain jobs and being tempted to take them.
Yeah. A friend of mine, Bob Snelling, who invented the word recruiter 55 years ago, we co-authored this ebook called Recruiters, the Inside Story. People think that recruiters actually help you find jobs, and it's a big misnomer. Anyway, so in the book, he's famous for this quote: the worst thing you can do when you're looking for a job is to get a job offer. It's a binary decision. You're looking for a job and you get one offer, right? You want multiple offers, 2, 3, 4 offers all at the same time. How do you do that? Well, that's the subject of career coaching. But for our purposes here, you're going to draw on all of these skills to execute a search. So I'm glad you're in this webinar. Okay, someone else. Why is this important to your success, Roger?
Well, for me as a sales leader, our measure of success is very objective. We have a number and we need to attain it. And so execution, there you go, driving results. It's very easily measured in a very time-bound sort of way.
Yep. And you're constantly doing all of these 10 things, right? You're innovating, hopefully. You're doing something out of the box. You're definitely driving actions. But all of this combined works together synergistically to produce results, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And for your role in particular, execution is really, really key. This is where you're being measured the most right now. Right?
I am. And so I emphasize that with my managers and when they're leading their sales teams, and especially right now in this current situation we find us in with the coronavirus, a lot of things are being put on hold and there's no priorities. And so we're having to right now every day discuss how to be innovative and how are we doing things remotely or continuing to manage a remote team and making sure that they are taking action and that their efforts are focused in the right area. And so it's uncharted territory right now.
Yep. Well, you might want to invite your direct reports to this webinar, Roger. And I do have rooms, so they're welcome. Because they have to do this, right? They have to drive action. They have to focus their people's attention. They have to leverage their people's intelligence. They have to manage good meetings, manage time and priorities. So, oops, sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you can resend me the link that I can forward on to them, I'll definitely do that.
Anna, just would you do that, please?
I will, for Roger, right?
Yes, please.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay, so who else? Susan, why is this important for your success? Why is execution critical, actually, for your success? I don't know if she's still here. Susan, I see you dialed in. She may be muted. I know she was driving, so okay. All right, so back to these questions. What actions beyond taking this course can you do to improve in execution? This is a rhetorical. I'm going to leave you with this as homework. What actions can you do beyond this course to improve in execution? So here's the first thing to do. I would look at these and I would rank order them. What is your number one strength? What do you do on this list? And you're about to get the ebook, so you'll be able to read. What do you do on this list better than any other thing on this list? What's the second most best thing? Third most, etc., down to number 10. Where are you the weakest? So if you read the introduction to the ebook, you'll be able to figure that out. Just skim the book. It'll very quickly make sense to you because there's an overview. Which one of these are you best at? Which one are you worst at? But just remember Scott, okay? Remember the Scott story that here's a guy who's 50 years old, has been an executive for 20 plus years, Fortune 500 company. No one ever told him that his meetings stunk. No one. How does that happen? So be self-critical. Do the best you can to really be self-critical with yourself. Where are you the best, but where are you the worst? And let's see what your number 10 is for next time, okay? So speaking of next time, here's the homework. Read the section in the ebook called Creating Innovation. And there's 7 sections. It's about maybe 5 or 6 pages. Okay, so it's not terrible as far as reading. It's talking about how to think more outside the box. How to discover more possibilities, exploring ways to innovate, challenging pre-existing paradigms, allowing yourself and others permission to explore, tapping into existing creativity or drawing it out from others, and then creating an environment that supports creativity and innovation. And we'll have a few other folks joining us for our next webinar. And that next webinar will be same time next week. And it is interactive. I do hope that everyone can be in front of a computer instead of driving this time, Susan. I don't know what happened to you, but we really would like you to be able to participate fully. So be in front of your computer so you can see the screen. Okay? So the homework is reading these about these items, this section E1, and the competency is called Creating Innovation. And then 2, second thing is going through these 10 items and rank ordering them. Which one is your number 1 competency? What's your number 2? What's your number 3? In terms of what you do best to what you do least best. Okay? Good. Any questions in closing? We've got 5 minutes left. Questions on anything we covered?
I think I'm good. This is great.
Guys, I'm very excited about this, and it really is a privilege to be doing this. I will also record each session, and so you can have a recording of each session at the end of the session, and it will send those out. We'll also have a Google Drive file folder that's a repository for all the information. And we're also going to give that to you and give you access to those tools. Okay? So the recordings will be in your Google Drive folder, but we'll also send them out to you. And tools that we'll give you throughout this course are also there. Without any further comments, I'll adjourn us.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Have a good day,
Thank you,
everyone.
Daniel. Thank
Guys,
you, everybody, for contributing.
yeah, it's a team effort, and you're all going to contribute, and this is how the class is going to go. It's interactive. It's just not a one-way, me talking and you listening, because that's the least effective form of learning. I'll leave you with this very, very powerful quote, okay? Ancient proverb. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. But I do, and then I understand. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
You too. Stay safe and healthy.
You too.
Hey, this is Anna. So I have the E-Myth book. Apart from Susan, who else would like to get a copy?
Oren.
Oren. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.